Here. Oh, didn't have any audio on YouTube, but there we are. Welcome, YouTubers, to Mountain High Time on Revolution.Radio. And as I was saying, I was hoping that if you were listening on Revolution.Radio, I played an old clip of Bill Cooper where he puts together a lot of dots that people are not putting together. And it's symbolism. And I talk a lot about it, but not only that, I've dived into it a lot. And excuse the squeaky chair. One of the other hosts was joking about my bad audio, but to be fair, it was an old recording of an interview, and also I didn't know my mic was on because it was like a weird glitch where even though it said I was muted, I was not. Anyway, welcome to Mountain High Time, and if you like listener-supported radio, think about giving a donation to Revolution.Radio directly. You can see that link at the top of the page on the Revolution.Radio website to continue to give shows like mine and others a platform of freedom of speech where we can say just about everything except for, a bunch of F-bombs and, derogatory remarks about particular individuals or anything like that. But I don't usually do that in the first place. So, well, maybe not the F-bomb part. We all know over on Mountain High Time, I'm known to drop a couple F-bombs. But let me pull up the YouTube and see what you guys are doing in there. I got distracted and forgot to add you guys to the conversation, of course, that is. All right, view my channel. Yes, I want to do that. Let's make sure I mute it so I don't echo everybody to death. And there we are. Dana, unacceptable living in left field. Gary, I'm not going to. Minzerati, I don't know. Don't get mad at me if I don't pronounce y'all's names correctly. I'm kind of bad at that. James Lecure, Raven Wolf Channel, Captain Trips, welcome to the 420 TV chat room there for this Mountain High Time edition. And we're going to get into the, or at least some of the articles that this stoner finds interesting and go through them one by one with my own kind of point of view. Opinionated, as the, promo for my show says. Opinionated look through the news headlines. Welcome, Oracle. And I see we got another virgin in the chat room. And if you're listening on Revolution.Radio and you would like to chat with like-minded people, just scoot on over to YouTube and join the chat room there. Everybody gets a wrench, so no one will ban your speech, at least to the best of my ability. You represent your own words, so if you make a ASS hat out of yourself, well, that's on you. I mean, that's on all of us. I myself have been known to, be an ass hat once in a while. Oh, did I say that out loud? I think that one's okay. I need to get a new list of the boo-boo words that you're not supposed to say. And we got another virgin in here, Witness for Justice. Hello. Welcome to the Mountain High Time broadcast, where the time and the place are the same. And I hope the weather is partly cloudy where you are. It is for me. Anyway, let's get into some news articles. I got to go over to my other software and add you guys a window. And we will just get into the craziness that is going on right now around the world and in your backyard. And I hope everybody can hear me clearly, audibly. I really hate when we have issues. What was I doing? Yes. And please forgive any stuttering or mispronunciations I might give with my slightly dyslexic, stuttering, and illiterate self. All right, what are we doing here? I gotta fix the window for you guys so it doesn't look weird. Sorry. I'm trying to integrate two shows going on, one on the radio and one on the interwebs here, and I think I got it. There we go. Get rid of that part right there and stretch it up. I'm sure the radio people are like, this is boring. What is this guy talking about? Anyway, so check this out. All right. So, who is Guyana's masked presidential contender? That's right. We live in really weird times. So, the Ghana, I mean, I always say that, right? Is it Ghana and French Ghana or Guyana? I don't know how to pronounce it. Don't, blame me for that. But anyway, the billboard in question right there says the new force, a new Ghana, a new nation. They don't even know who this is. I mean, it's like, who is it? Nobody knows. It says Ghana, giant billboards featuring a man in a mask, and the simple message, leadership for a next generation, the new force, have appeared in major cities across Ghana in recent weeks. Other billboards featuring a masked man flanked by others with covered faces have been rolled out as part of some kind of campaign for the president there of Ghana on the Cape Coast there. The billboards have been placed beside busy streets and major cities all over the place. What a weird time we're living in, where people running for office are wearing masks. Who is he? I mean, does he have to tell the public his names? I don't know. But I found something even more interesting, and for you guys watching on Mountain High Time, is a article from the Wall Street Journal titled Tyrannosaurus Discovered with its Last Meal Preserved in its Stomach. It's the first of its kind fossil, giving paleontologists unprecedented insight into the diet and dominance of the top carnivore of its time. Let's see. Let's look down here. For the first time, paleontologists have discovered a fossilized tyrannosaur with its last meal preserved in its stomach, and it turns out the dinosaur was a fussy eater, consuming only the choicest parts of its prey and discarding the rest. So I don't know if PETA or Greenpeace was around back then, but they probably wouldn't liked his non-vegan diet. I mean, because a lot of stuff just ate meat, with big teeth and those bicuspids, by darn it, in your mouth kind of prove that at least human beings, at minimum, omnivore, obviously, but most likely some form of predator that actually led to our form, especially considering that almost all prey animals have eyes on the side of their heads, giving them a bigger field of vision to see predators coming. And most predators have forward-facing eyes, just like us, by the way. But anyway, let's get into this cool article about this fussy eater dinosaur. It says that the last meal that it had was perfectly preserved in its stomach. The discovery confirms what researchers have long suspected. Juvenile Tyrannosaurus, like this one, slice through the flesh of small prey with blade-like teeth, while adults with chompers strong enough to crush bone targeted giant herbivores. The difference means that adults and juveniles did not compete for the same prey, allowing these predators to dominate their ecosystem throughout much of their lives, according to a study published Friday in the Journal of Science Advances. The star of a new research, a 13-foot-long, 740-pound juvenile Tyrannosaurus known as Gorgosaurus, if I said that right, libratus. Gorgosaurus, I can't even say it. Gorgosaurus libratatus. Anyway, sprinted after nimble prey through the forest of what is now Alberta, Canada, about 75 million years ago. The meal it was after was a bird-like dinosaur weighing in at about 20 pounds, kind of like a turkey. The young predator, a T-Rex cousin that could run about 30 miles per hour, overtook its quarry and with almost surgical precision severed the prey's legs and swallowed them whole. Wow. I mean, can you imagine going up against something that's as big or as long as a modern giant alligator or a saltwater croc. It weighs 740 pounds, but it's not slow, but can actually move pretty fast, like that of most speed limits around town. You know, you got to go about 30, 35 miles an hour. Well, this T-Rex could run alongside your car and snatch you out of it and eat you whole if you were a smaller child or something, you know. I feel like this is one of those once-in-a-career fossils, said Darla Zelinsky, I believe I pronounced that right, an associate professor of paleontology at the University of Calgary, who co-led the study with Francis Trarin, curator of dinosaur paleoecology at the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Alberta. The rare fossil that has paleontologists buzzing is a two-legged carnivore known as a Tyrannosaurus, and it dominated ecosystems of North America and Asia between 80 million years ago and 66 million years ago. And what they're showing is dinosaur skull, teeth, and bones of a juvenile Gorgosaurus, a relative of the famous T-Rex, which emerged about 7 million years later. And in its stomach, you can clearly see that there are two animals, most likely not eaten far between. So after unearthing the fossil, the researchers noticed oddly located foot bones inside the dinosaur's abdominal cavity. Those bones belong to a swift bird-like dino known as Cytipes. Oh God, I hate that. Cytipes elegans, I think it means. I don't know. Which the Gorgosaurus had eaten prior to dying. The green dots here on the map for you guys on YouTube show the Gorgosaurus's ribs, and these yellow dots right here show bones from its prey. A closer look revealed that the predator had consumed the legs of two of these Cytipes. I don't know how to say that. Citipes. For those of you that's good at that, I really don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, with anywhere from a few hours to a few days separating the meals. It's pretty trippy, man. Aren't you glad you don't have to live in the days of bipedal raptors that could tear your flesh apart in seconds? Ooh. Actor Ryan O'Neal, dead at 82 years old. Love Story and Peyton Place, if you're old enough to have watched those movies. Star Ryan O'Neal has died. His son Patrick posted today. So this is the toughest thing I will ever have to say, but here we go. My dad passed away peacefully today with his loving team by his side, supporting him and loving him as he would of us. It's unclear how O'Neal died, but he had his share of health problems, including prostate cancer, diagnosed in 2012, and in 2001, he was diagnosed with chronic leukemia. O'Neal was not only one of the hottest actors in Hollywood back in the day, but according to this article, he was a major heartthrob. Now, he's a dude, so, you know, I'm not going to say he's a heartthrob, obviously. His credits include What's Up, Doc?, Paper Moon, Barry Lyndon, A Bridge Too Far, The Main Event, and The Driver. Ryan was nominated in 1970 for Best Actor Oscar for Love Story. Why does this matter? It doesn't. It doesn't at all, except for, you know, if you like that actor or whatever. Hold on, we have a technical problem here. Let me just pause this for 1 second. Wow. I just had to cough really good because of what's going on. Anyway, why does it matter? It doesn't really matter. So, you know, I don't usually give celebrity news, but I thought, you know, older folks that watched, I've seen him in a bunch of movies. I'm sure there's a bigger list. He's kind of a regular if you've ever watched TV in the 80s or 90s there. But anyway, he croaked. I hope I make it at least to 82, man. That's pretty sweet. Or 90. You know, my whole goal was to see Halley's Comet again because I saw it back in the day there. And, you know, if I live long enough to see that bad boy again, then, well, I had a good life, right? China scores a big win in the race with the U.S. for influence on the moon, according to them, even though, I just watched a supposed video of them up in space where they clearly had a glass of water sitting on the table. So I don't know what kind of experiment was holding the water in the glass or what was going on there. But, speaking of which, if you have not seen it, watch the Greg Reese report that he put out today on band.video or Infowars.com. I think you can find it on Twitter if you're following him there. Very well done story talking about how President Putin was actually shown pictures of the lunar landing of the United States, and according to the artificial intelligence, said the pictures are fake. So take that with you. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, or whatever you're going to do with it. Anyway, according to this article, China scores big in the race for space with the U.S. China notched a diplomatic victory in its race against the United States for influence in space, with Egypt agreeing to support Beijing's plan for a proposal project on the moon. I said that all messed up. Proposed project on the moon. The China National Space Agency on Wednesday signed a memorandum of understanding with Egypt's space agency that will see them cooperate on the International Lunar Research Station, a Chinese-backed base that's expected to begin in operation around 2030, just around the corner. If indeed they're doing that, are we going to find out that, we did go to the moon, but it ain't none of that stuff we watched on TV? It's none of the suits or gear or none of that stuff that they showed everybody that was all, that $1 billion project to simulate going to the moon that was, handed over all of that money to Werner von Braun to simulate going to the moon, in which they built props, sets, all kinds of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that's what was used, but it sure does look like that's what happened. So if you watch that report from Greg Reese, it's pretty funny and standard if you've been paying attention to the moon landing. Now, me personally, I think they went up there. I think people sacrificed themselves, probably died of radiation, to find out what was on the moon, whether it was technology left behind by remnants of some other technological civilization, may or may not reference to in old Sumerian tales, or maybe they just found out or wanted to find out how often the sun burps a massive CME at the Earth, in which they could go to the moon and find out, because, there's tons and tons of H3 or helium-3 on the moon that suggests that it's bombarded with massive amounts of cosmic radiation and solar radiation coming off our sun periodically. And also, watching, different documentaries over the years, there are marks left in the not sure the word right offhand for it, the glass basically on the moon that was left over. So things that were crystallized or vitrified so much that they turned into glass have streaks of where particles like protons streak through and burned little marks on them. So if they went up there and found that might be something they wouldn't want to share with the public, freaking everyone out knowing that the sun might just burp our way and kill everyone. And I'm not talking about a Carrington event, but something much, much larger, something big enough to actually deposit, solar radiation and clumps, if you will, raining down on the side of the Earth like plasma. Anyway, this agreement that China has made with Egypt builds on their collaboration, which saw a Chinese rocket send an Egyptian satellite into orbit from a launch center near the Gobi Desert on Monday. The launch promotes a shared future of mankind and fully demonstrates China's demeanor as a major country and a principle of extensive consultation. What is this? This must be a Chinese website, man. Well, they are really kissing the butt of Xi on that article, aren't they? Anyway, Chinese spy balloon also detected in Taiwan Strait, not unlike the balloon that flew over the mainland of the U.S. And, a lot of people forget that there was a program by the Japanese in World War II to send up high-altitude balloons, get it on the jet stream, and drop these incendiary devices all over North America. And they actually did do that, started a couple fires, but there are many missing of those balloons that landed, and they're just waiting for a forest fire to go off. possibly anywhere in North America, all the way, U.S., Canada, anywhere that they might have landed and not gone off. And they're full of a small bomb, and some incendiary material that could just, be out there. I forgot the name of that project. I've talked about it before, but I forgot. But anyway, this episode is reminiscent of the high altitude reconnaissance balloon seen over the U.S. earlier this year, and it comes amid heightened regional tensions and sparked renewed concern about China's surveillance activities. The U.S., which said China's spy balloon had violated American territorial and sovereignty, shot down, but they waited till, it flew off the East Coast and had already passed the entirety of the U.S. before they shot it down. And did you look at that thing? Looked like it was made with stuff from, Home Depot and stuff. Just saying. Matter of fact, I think some people even tracked down some of the parts and identified them as, just different stuff from different companies. Anyway, moving on. Another Chinese story right here. China and Xi Jinping's approval rating skyrockets in Russia, according to Newsweek. More Russians have viewed Chinese leadership favorable since the beginning of the Ukraine war, a new poll says. According to a 2023 Gallup poll, approval of Chinese leadership under Xi Jinping in Russia reached an unprecedented 71%, a stark contrast to the declining favorability of Western powers as Russia navigates this. Every one of these articles nowadays is basically about how the BRICS and the other side of the world is basically aligning for this last little kinetic war in the world, i.e. World War III, that's kind of being used, and I'm going to say the Abrahamic religions are being used like a schematic on how to build Armageddon, which is, by the way, a place, Golgotha Hill. A lot of people know this. Armageddon is not just a time or some event in the Bible. It's actually a place that's located in Israel. Very important place for all three Abrahamic religions, right? And now we have this new war there. You have the prophet being taken to heaven there. You have Jesus rising from the dead there. You have Jacob having his dream, Jacob's ladder. You also have Ezekiel also being taken off into heaven. And ironically, right around there, you have Baalbek, which has those same giant stones that nobody wants to talk about or mention really that much, besides a passing, wonder or whim of amazement of a mystery. But no one really dives into it because it doesn't seem that humans, or at least anybody in this line of evolution of the past historical times, had any inkling or technology or any know-how to build those giant stones that are sitting there in Baalbek as the foundation of that Jupiter temple there. Nobody knows how they cut them. Nobody knows how they moved them. Nobody knows how they put them. But there are some similar megalithic blocks just like that over in Jerusalem. So when you wonder about these ancient stories about people going aloft into heaven, or going up in a whirlwind, or flying on a magic carpet, or rising from the dead and being in the sky, and you got to wonder what's going on in history right around that area, why it's so important, why there's so many myths, why there's so many religions, why there's so many connections to spirituality, ancient man, ancient history right there. Even the story of Gilgamesh talks about him wandering around, wanting to go find a Shem and eat from the tree of everlasting life, or something to that effect. The longevity of the gods, he wanted to go get that. He couldn't get there. But his mother told him he could go to Baalbek and maybe, figure it out. What's in Baalbek? Those giant stones. Was that some kind of platform for some previous technology of a previous civilization? Or even like, the ancient astronauts theorized it's some sort of extraterrestrial building, which would put it in the same realm as, like Zecharia Sitchin says, the Pyramid of Giza, that those were all part of some super complexes in the ancient past before the deluge. And now they use these Abrahamic religions that are all tied up in that place and have prophecies and expectations of of world domination, basically, coming from several of the groups. Um, Now you have a self fulfilling prophecy written in biblical form that you can make the entire world participate in. And all you have to do basically is knock down that mosque, the Dome on the Rock, knock it down, flatten it, and start laying the foundation for a new temple, a new Solomon's temple. And after that, all bets are off. All you got to do is get some American or somebody from around the world to eat a ham sandwich up there right around that temple, and then prophecy is complete. Might not be as fantastical as written in the Bible, but they could pass it off by doing some cute events and use the basic blueprint or a self-fulfilling prophecy of the Abrahamic religions to start a World War III and end up with a final battle between two powers to decide who's going to run the world government. Is it going to be a Chinese capitalist society, a communist capitalist society, as people like Kissinger, rest in pieces, used to talk about, or are they going to go with the collapsing Western world that they seem to be purposely destroying with mass migration and cutting off of resources of every kind, from food to power, etc., telling people they can't farm, humans are bad, we ruin the environment. But you got this other team over there, China and Russia and all of the BRICS nations, teaming up to have a series of good decades, it looks like. Is that the path? Have they already decided who is going to be the leader of the new, world governance, the new religion of the world, the technocratic system of mass spying, surveillance, of forced medications, etc.? Have to be careful of what I say because I am on a YouTube broadcast. But here's another one. We brought this up on Thursday's mini Ice Age conversations. Thousands and thousands, tons of dead fish wash up. Nobody knows why. Pretty disgusting. And it makes me wonder if it's not something biblical per se, but what if there was some kind of underwater event that nobody really is looking for or knows of? Because I wouldn't be surprised if I saw this after some kind of tsunami or earthquake or something like that. But it's weird to just all of a sudden all these dead fish roll up. Or is the Chinese and or the United States and or Russia doing underwater exercises that may have killed thousands and thousands of fish? I don't know. You tell me. I'm just, I don't know. The haul, mostly sardines and some mackerel. It's all the good stuff of fish. It's all the stuff people would be eating. Imagine that. It created a silver blanket stretching half a mile long on the coastline. Locals said they have never seen anything like it. Officials posted warnings online urging people not to consume the fish after some bagged them up to eat or sell. Ugh. No telling what killed them. Who knows? Or maybe they were killed on purpose just to further destroy the food supply. Just a thought. I don't know. Locust swarms, skies of Mexico, leaving people fearing the world is ending. No offense, but, there's a lot of doomsdayers that believe the world's going to end. Let me tell you, it doesn't matter if this grand solar minimum ends in a bang or a fade away into history, or things get colder or things get hotter. Whatever's going on, the Earth's going to keep on going. There's not going to be no end of the world. There might be an end of the world for you if you didn't prepare, if you didn't look around, if you weren't aware, if you didn't have any situational awareness, deductive logic, or critical thinking skills, and you were led around like a sheeple for your whole life, and you continue to do that, well, then, the end of the world may be nigh for you, depending on what you've decided to intake into your body, if you know what I'm saying. Bad stuff, bad foods, bad this, that, or the other thing. But it is weird. It is kind of spooky. Locusts and large amounts of fish. But who cares about that? Look, here it is. Here's actual Guyana. See, I don't know why I thought the other one was said that way. One in Africa. This one's next to Venezuela. If you haven't heard, Venezuela, as predicted, is having some serious financial problems. If you don't remember, they were eating the zoo animals. They all kinds of weird stuff going on in Venezuela since the Colombian took office, and actually before that, when Hugo Chavez was in charge, and turned the country into a socialist hellhole. Um, Now, guess what? Their little tin pot dictator there wants to move over into someone else's country and take their stuff. They don't want to, they don't want to earn. They just want to take more, as socialism does. We've seen it before. As Venezuela threatens to invade oil-rich Guyana, U.S. worries about how far Maduro will go. I don't know, but Menudo ain't even from Venezuela. I'm pretty sure that he's a Colombian, if I'm not mistaken. Somehow he rose, and this is why in the United States, supposedly, we got rules where people can't just move in from another country and take office, take over, and change things dramatically. But no such thing there. And guess what? They took the guns, and now they own all the guns, and they own all the food, and they own all the gas, and they're in charge of the electric, and they're in charge of everything. Because people thought socialism was going to be some kind of utopia. Guess what? Look up that word utopia. It's a place that doesn't exist. You'll never get to it. It does not exist. And that's why we use the term utopia, because it's fictional, non-real, nada, nothing, just what you get from socialism. And everybody knows that. But yet, country after country keeps trying to prove this time it'll work. It ain't going to, I'm just telling you. U.S. holds military exercises in Guyana as border tensions soar. And this brings me to my next point. If you've been paying attention to me on either my own channel for the last couple of years, or if you heard me on DAP 2030's Mini Ice Age Conversations podcast that's right here on Revolution.Radio as well, or wherever you heard it, you know that I've been talking about how they need a kinetic war in the Americas. And there's two likely places for that to be. We're now seeing where one of those, obviously, is about to head into some conflict over in this side of the planet. And also, in my opinion, right along the U.S.-Mexican border, as cartels start to fight each other for resources, who's going to sell fentanyl, who's not going to sell fentanyl, how much U.S. intelligence operations are involved in our country to the south, how many Chinese intel influences and assets are there, and or Middle Eastern and Russian. Think about it. If you've been paying attention to the border, then you know people from all over the world are flooding it. Just like Europe, mass migration is real, even though the Democratic Party tells you it's some kind of theory or white ring. I can't even say that right. Right wing or white ring. I don't know. Whatever they're trying to say. They mix those terms up so much, I can't even say it right. But anyway, supposedly a bunch of evil white people are sitting around saying, hey, we're scared that there's people that are coming here. No, it's not that at all. It's just that we can clearly see, along with anybody else of any skin tone and any intelligence, can look at the border and see they letting everybody in. Somebody, is having a quinceañera, and they told the whole town, and they told them that there's free booze, free food, come on down and hook up with, the party we're having, and you don't have to pay a dime. Just come on down to the Price is Right. But for some reason, I don't know, these poor refugees somehow lost their families, their children, their wives. But they managed to remember to bring their nice new clothes, their brand new backpacks, their nice cell phones, and cigarettes, of course. Nice group of young, attractive military-age men from multinational locations arriving at our southern border. But that's okay. According to the Biden, administration, the border is sealed up. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about that at all. In other news, clinging to power, Putin announcing he will run in 2024 election with despot all but certain to say in Kremlin until he dies or he's ousted. I don't know. I'm not going to say, I agree with Russia or whatever's going on, but, you can tell what's going on. NATO has been poking at the Russian bear for some time. They want a war. They have to have a war. Their only problem is, when are we going to do it? When is the world elite going to decide that we're going to repeat World War II and what I think was a completely, from beginning to end, scripted war? I don't think the German Nazis were ever meant to win. They were a bad guy that was put into power to do a lot of objectives, gain a lot of assets, redesigned the map, and they were always meant to lose. And in fact, if you really, get into Operation Paperclip and what was going on in Russia, you'll realize that the Nazis did not lose. They just switched companies. They changed flags. They came to America. They put together our, stuff like the NASA, those never a straight answer people, and also brought you things like the Department of Education, CIA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Their fingerprints all over the intel world, the black ops, the black budgets of the U.S., Russia, and probably elsewhere, probably even England. I'm sure they got their fair share of, people of influence and scientists. Who cares if Putin's running in 2024? Why don't we worry about who's running or not really running in the USA? Because right now it seems like a joke, in my opinion. You got the same two old men that argued about who was going to force medicate you first. You got the old Biden crime family, and you got the Trump people, the Operation Warp Speed people, and then you got the next generation of clowns that they're trying to promote from the Uniparty, like DeSantis and Newsom, trying to give you two sides of tribalism, so you'll pick one, but in the long run, they'll vote in the same things. They'll make the same PACs deals and do the same things for each of the special interests that they always have. Hundreds packed Seattle meeting to oppose playground at an LGBTQ nude beach. Yeah, I said that. That's right. You didn't hear me wrong. People are opposing. I can't believe these demons would oppose a playground. Let those poor kids go out there and play in the middle of the alphabet soup of nudity out there on the beach. What could go wrong? Anyway, hundreds of people packed a Seattle community meeting Wednesday night to oppose a proposal by the city to build a kids' play area at the beach park known for decades as a nude hangout, especially for the alphabet folks. People who swim and sunbathe at Blaine Park and who view the $550,000 plan initiated by the anonymous donor, pedophile, excuse me, I had something in my throat. Don't displace historic and diverse community. Don't do it. That's evil that people would, stand up and not want children to play there in the middle of all that is in the sunbathing. You could make this stuff up if you tried. Archaeologists unearth most shocking example of Roman slavery in Pompeii. Oh my God. This is the Americans again? The Americans, that the only people? Oh, no. This is actual other slavery. It was white on white slavery, back in the day. A bakery where enslaved people were imprisoned and exploited to produce bread has been discovered in the ruins of Pompeii in what has been described as the most shocking example of slavery in the ancient Roman city. The cramped bakery, with small windows barred with iron, was part of a home that emerged during excavations in the Regio 9 area of Pompeii, archaeological park in southern Italy. The discovery provides more evidence of a once daily life of Pompeii's enslaved people, often forgot about historical sources, but who made up most of the population and whose hard labor propped up the city's economy as well as the culture and fabric of Roman civilization. The home is believed to have been undergoing renovations when it was destroyed by eruptions of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. But remains of the three victims were found in one of the bakery's rooms in recent months, indicating the home still had occupants. Markings used to coordinate the movement of enslaved workers and blindfolded animals were found on the bakery floor. The home was divided into a residential part, adorned with lavish frescoes, and the bakery, where enslaved people were forced to grind the grain with their little matatas, or whatever those things are called, kneaded and produce bread. The bakery was cut off from the outside world, with only exit leading to the main hall of the house. In other words, they kept them locked up. They were making them make the bread, man. But it's no, shock, really, or even a mystery that in Roman times they had lots of slavery. I mean, have you ever seen any Roman movie? Of course they had slavery. That's one of the biggest things that was going on back in the day. Unfortunately, children were slavery, women were slavery, and, Roman Emperors got crazier and crazier. Need I not mention Caligula and the likes of the horse lovers and things like that. Anyway, let's move on. I can't say this article, um, so I'm gonna mute it on YouTube. No, I just better move on. I better behave myself and move on. Anyway, as I was saying earlier, Putin told moon landing photos are fake. He was shown a whole reel, and I advise people to either go see this on InfoWars or go to band.video and check out the latest Greg Reese reporting video about Putin being shown these what the AI has decided is fake. The AI that's designed to look at the photographs decided it was fake. They said it was fake. They didn't like it. Weird though. I don't know about you, but I think there was two different moon landings. Definitely, yeah, blindfolded animals, so they couldn't see what was coming to them. That's right, needs crazy stuff going on. So it's not just our generation, obviously, that's lost their mind. Um, what was I? Oh yeah, that's right. That's where we were going over here. So I thought that this was one of the funniest things that I've seen on the internet in quite some time. All right, so not only do the governments want to, spy on you, um, they want to know everything about you all the time. I've read over and over again for the last several years all the different ways that they spy on you, that they still spy on you, that they never stop spying on you because people believe, after Snowden, they stopped doing that. No, they didn't stop doing that. What happened was is they came right out and they told the sheeple of the world that we spy on you constantly. We save every bit of data. We take it all. We save it. We'll use it against you. We'll do all kinds of things. We'll do whatever we want because you're owned. You're a commodity, and we track and trace you already. So people are behind the curve thinking that this track and trace nightmare of a technocratic system is coming in the near future. No, 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 no. Like the Matrix, it's already here. The difference being, you think that's fictional, but, like in the Matrix, they had this whole little conversation about how the fake reality was perfect at one time, but they lost massive amounts of humans that wouldn't accept it because humans define their self with negative stuff, with suffering and different pleasures and all these extremes of a world that if it was perfect you wouldn't run into those things. So in the movie they talk about how even though the technological level has gone way into the future, into a time where robotics run the entire planet, the story, it's super technological and futuristic in the real world there. But for the humans in the Matrix, they give them a simulation of 1999, and they don't want to get past that time period because they think that that was the peak of civilization where human beings lived with their suffering, and that's basically the real thing that they're doing in the real world now. People believe that technology has only gone so far, and even though you sit there with a robot in your hand and look at it and it's tracking and tracing you, it's taking pictures of you, it's recording your video, it's recording your face, it sits there. And if you've ever sat in front of a smart TV and things like that, they're watching you. Not only is it watching you, it's listening to you. Even the streaming services have algorithms and stuff that work with the devices that you use that knows when you get up and leave the room. So I'm sure you've sat there before and you got up and then all of a sudden the TV says, "Are you still watching? Are you still here?" And think about it. If you say yes, you verify your location on Earth. Not that they didn't know that by following everything else. So on your phone, sitting there taking constant infrared pictures of your face, monitoring what you look at, what you pay attention to, how long you pay attention to it. So every time you're scrolling through your phone on one of these apps, playing the game, doing this or that, they are collecting data on you. And I think a lot of people that played video games and have been playing video games probably for the last 20 years, the first-person shooter games, if you've ever played those or seen people that play those, they think that they're playing in a war simulator and they're having fun. And, then studies come out and say, hey, you know what? A little bit of cortisol is released every time you die in that imaginary world that you're playing in a fictional reality on the game. It's the same actually, it's more than that. The same effect on the brain is happening as if people that actually got shot in a war zone, but it's like a micro amount. So these people are reliving micro amounts, micro dosages of this thing going on, up with dopamine and adrenaline, and then back down with these other negative chemicals and endorphins and things. So they've got these people in there, and the people think that they're playing a game, or some people realize, oh, well, this is a war simulator. That's what it is. And they take it like that. But what they don't realize is they are not studying the AI. They are not simulating a war. Over and over again, millions of people are being kind of, in a way, they're being debriefed by the AI. So the AI that you're playing against in those games and recording you playing against other real people, whichever way you're playing, it's recording all of that metadata. Every choice you make, every time you hide or shoot this way or shoot that way, any strategy that you come up with out of your human intellect, they record that. It records it. It's studying you, and then you multiply that by millions and millions of online users also using their brain power, being judged, recorded, and studied, analyzed by the games that they're playing. So the entire internet is doing this now. The entire technological domain of humans is doing this. Stores are finding out when you go there, how long you stay there. They're doing psychological things to make you go to the front, impulse buying, yada, yada, yada. We all know the other things. But now think of the blankets of these programs as they've been put on you over the past couple of decades. And then now they pass laws where they want to look at everything you do. They want to see in your private messages. So they've come right out with it. They've told everyone. Since Edward Snowden, they showed the public what they're doing, and the public just went, meh, and went back to living their life. Now, if a human being was looking through your private things and all that stuff, you get mad. You call the police. You get upset. But if the government's doing it, why not? And this is more of this stuff. So this is the title of this article. Brits may be forced to take a selfie before watching porn. Not that they're not watching you watching it in the first place, but on a whole nother level, they want to get a selfie. So let's see what this article says here. Adult webcams could compel British citizens to take a selfie to verify their age before watching pornography under new rules to protect children. UK's telecom regulatory agency, Ofcom. No way. Anyway, it's weird that adult websites would be messing around with Ofcom and got this facial stuff going on, all these facials and whatnot. Anyway, it says agency Ofcom said websites could use facial age estimation systems to confirm that they are adults before they access the pornography. Or they could just go to like all of these sites around the world. So now, of course, young people shouldn't be. There's plenty of reasons for young people not to watch porn. It's destroying, it's destabilizing, it's psychologically messed up. There's all kinds of bad things that come from it. Besides that, you have no idea who the actors are, how they got there, what's really going on. And it also destroys young minds. And they've proven this with study after study. And it's a leading contributor to reasons why men experience erectile dysfunction, because they have this idea built up in their head, and then they make a pattern of looking at something and getting those endorphins, just like the video game, a fake world. And don't get me wrong, the same technology is used in regular television. So when you get on and you watch TV, especially those couch potato type sheeple that stay at home, and they watch hours and hours of television. And when they do this, they are looking at fake people. So they find fake people. That's the characters of the show you like. You get on there, you get involved, you start to like these characters, and then one of them gets hurt, or one of them's wronged, or one of them does something wrong, and then you emulate with these people, and then you also empathize. And your body is producing real, genuine endorphins, oxytocin, serotonin, all whatever it is. I'm not a scientist, but all of those things are getting produced from artificialness. So these people are living out fake lives, pretending, and then think about the double, screw-a-roo of the fact that most of them are leftist, weird, satanic, all this weird stuff that's going on with the Holly weird people. And then you pile on top of that they want to act like you. They want to act like the conservative. They want to act like the American Joe. They want to pretend to be you and then make a fake character that you then participate in. And then you start to like, and then you create real emotions for, and then they kill them or they do this or that with them. And you spend all day worrying about fake people and fake situations, and you spend your emotional energy and chemicals on things that don't really exist. And then, you're going to go out in public and you're going to be like, get away from me. I don't want to talk to you. And, these people, because you've already run out of the chemicals necessary to deal with other people in reality. And I think that's part of their little scientific objective is to do that to people. And that way they control your endorphins. They control everything. It's unfathomable. Fathomable. I can't even do it. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. It's out there to understand how much surveillance and how much watching and how much metadata, if you want to call it that, is being observed and used against you. It's mind-blowing. Anyway, where was my article? Here it is. Put that back up in there. All right, what's next? Maduro signs decrees of incorporating Guyana's region into Venezuela. I already covered that. They already have a new map. I think it might be a real thing. I don't know if they're just blowing smoke up our butts or what. But they've already made a new map. So maybe he's going to start this escalation of the world war right there at the tip of South America. Hope not. I mean, it's not like we don't have enough war zones on the planet. Enough killing, enough people dying, enough BS from both the world governance and these little Pol Pot dictator wannabes that have got control through socialism of some area of the globe. It's becoming a little scary. More than scary. It's World War III. That's where we're headed. Everyone knows it. It's just, the question is how long are they going to take to get there? How long is it going to be there? And last but not least, have you noticed that they're throwing little Hunter Biden under the bus? He might actually go to jail in some nice, federal prison or something and get to play tennis and, get a Martha Stewart kind of, welcome in the prison there. He's getting busted finally for tax charges, his gun charges. But you notice what they're not going after? That's the problem. The things that he's done that are basically provable or already proved by many people out there. And then you got the entire left that says that this is just a ploy. It's just a ploy. And, don't worry about me breaking the law and hanging out with all those underage girls and smoking crack and doing all that stuff that my dad helped build laws to put people away for decades. Forget that I did that and get away with it. It's just all a setup to make me look bad. Anyway, this has been Mountain High Time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we will see you some other time. Actually, next Saturday. Same place. Mountain High Time. Don't forget, be there. I'll be square. I'll be stoned. Anyway, say goodbye to the radio. Now let's go over here to the YouTube people and see what's in the chat. I'm sure you guys were saying snarky comments about me. Let's go see. Captain Trips, would it be what it was like, if it was supposed to be like, if it was like what it was like in the first place. You know what I'm saying? It's all that in a bowl full of grits. Fried Krispies in a pan, man. Val, how's it going? Sats Frast Red, Geeds, Swervin' K9, what's going on? Rastafarian? I don't know. James Lecure, you guys were having fun in here. That's what I like about my chat. Everybody's got a wrench, so, there's no excuse for you to not be able to say what you want to be saying to anybody, nobody's going to tell you to shut up. They might mute you or make you invisible, like I said, because you represent your own words. I don't represent them. And I find it funny that these platforms try to punish the content provider for stuff people say in the bottom. Oh, one more thing I was going to say. I think they're going to let Alex Jones back on the Twitter. What do you guys think about that? Here, let's put a poll just to make it, Should they let Alex Jones back on Twitter? Is it really a free speech platform? Should. I'll just put that. It'll be simple. You guys know what I'm talking about. Listen. Should they let him on? Yes or no? Let's see what you guys think about it. What's up, J Mac? I'm trying to get... Oh, it's 8 o'clock. Sorry, I got to go to the Magnetic Reversal News and check out another Revolution.Radio show. The Cosmic Catastrophes over on Magnetic Reversal News. So I will see you guys there. That's where I'm going. Peace out. And we'll see what that poll says later. Stay away from the polls, man. They're dangerous, man. Anyway, peace out. Have a good one. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.